We got a warning about the Iraqi dinar. And if you own the Iraqi dinar, you need to consider this argument because the velocity of the dinar is pretty much nil. And the prime minister or a prime minister's advisor has stated that 90% of Iraq's money supply is now held outside of banks. It's being hoarded. And this is very important. If you're investing in something, you need to realize it doesn't just go up or down just on a whim or on a fairy tale. And the Iraqi dinar is an interesting investment because I've held the dinar since 2014. It was my smallest investment I've ever made. I invested $3,500 or about that much into the dinar a long time ago. And the reason why is because I understood that wars are fought over this kind of move. The government, the US government, turned Iraq into slaves to do whatever they want and destroyed the value of their currency and have held that position for a very long time. And it blows my mind that on YouTube and social media, there are people that make careers out of pumping hopium into people. I watched these video titles. You want to talk about clickbait? Big news, dinar revalue tomorrow, huge, watch now. And I can't get over that people watch these day after day. When you realize that money needs velocity for an economy and for a nation to become worth value, money needs to be transacted. It can't sit stagnant. It can't just sit in accounts, not talking to each other, not doing things. So let me get into this story, and I want to let everyone know I put together, everyone talks about Black Friday. Nobody ever talks about Memorial Day sales. I put together a sale, links down below to all of my courses, the lowest prices I've ever done. This is like going back to when they were all launched kind of prices. So if you've been waiting for a course, the links down below to just about every single course I've ever done at the same prices when they were originally launched. Okay, so if you want to look at that down below. And also, thank you to everybody that's been hitting the subscribe button. I so appreciate it, beating back these algorithms. All right, it says here, this is out of Radha. There's nearly 90% of Iraq's money supply held outside the formal banking sector, largely hoarding in homes. A senior financial advisor to the Iraqi premier told Radha the vast leakage of cash poses a serious challenge to the country's financial stability and long-term economic growth. It says here the Salhi, I'll call him because I can't pronounce his name, advisor to the Prime Minister Mohammed Shia Sadani, stated that the hoarding of cash, while historically common, has reached critical levels with leakage rates between 87 and 90%. He explained that a large portion of the currency in circulation is held outside of banks. Let me give an example, he says here. If, for example, we have approximately 100 trillion dinars, which is worth approximately $714 million in total currency in circulation today, around 91 to 92 trillion dinars, he's giving an example, okay? These aren't exact numbers. Approximately $657 million worth of dinar are currently outside the banking system. According to senior financial advisor, the exceptionally high rate of cash held outside banks is largely driven by public distrust in financial institutions. Let me ask you first, type IQD if you own the dinar. I'm curious how many people here do. That's actually not true. The truth is, Americans have purchased a ton of Iraqi dinar over the years, and they are super hopeful that it is going to revalue tomorrow. That's why they watch these videos. I know people that have been invested in the dinar for over 10 years that watch these channels of it's happening tomorrow. It's happening tomorrow. It's like dealing with crypto people are like, this coin's going up 100 times this cycle. I'm like, you are high as a kite if you think that. And what's sad is that this kind of stuff sells. I know it on my channel. I say, this is very bad news. That's my title, right? But I go over like 4 different news stories of bad economic data. To me, that's not clickbait. That's trying to name something that you're going to talk about 4 different things in. That's a title. But the problem with most human beings around the world, they're poor because they have not set their feet on the solid ground of real expectations. And that's not sexy. I get it. Now, you want to hear something sexy? Check this out. This is true. In a bull market, you should expect to make 100% on your money every 6 to 8 weeks. You should expect that. You should be looking for projects. That's really happening in my life. That is happening in my students' lives. That's during a bull run. That only lasts for a certain season. And there is so much at play with the Iraqi Dinar. And I know there's going to be a handful of questions. Where do I buy it? I'm not even going to tell you. You need to go do your own research because there are a ton of scammers out there as well. Even though when you look at an Iraqi dinar note compared to a US dollar note, you're like, holy cow, the security features on this thing would be so much harder to fake than the security features on the US dollar. But hey, that's just me. Type 1 if you agree with that. You look at it, honestly, you look at a dinar note and the features that it has as compared to a US dollar banknote, it's night and day difference. But with that being said, it will revalue someday. And there's all this great news about the dinar because the Central Bank of Iraq is buying gold. They're actively buying gold. And this kind of warning, this kind of warning from this prime minister, now think about it. He's saying, hey, too many people are hiding the dinar under the mattress. We need to get it back and get it circulating to bring value. Well, what would that entail? Well, that would entail the government going, okay, we can't print more dinar. It'll devalue it. We need to get it into our possession. That would mean we've got to buy it back. Well, if we got to buy it back, we got to offer a good rate. And right now around the world, now I'm going from bearish on the dinar and I'm going to explain the bullish, but I want to show you both things and the reason why, both sides of the story, because you can't make an informed decision without really having a bunch of different knowledge. You need the good and the bad. Every investment has a positive, positives and negatives, right? Here's the positives. The Iraqi government understands the tyranny of the US government. Look, Gaddafi understood it. All these other leaders understood it. They were out beating the war drums and they weren't saints themselves, but they were warning about what the government in the US was doing to them. And Iraq is no different. And so they've been buying gold. They own so much oil, it's crazy. They've got a lot of power. They've got a lot of chips that they can play, a lot of turns in the that they can go through. So when somebody out here, this prime minister's assistant saying, hey, 90% of our currency is under people's mattresses, they're hoarding it at their homes, they're going to need to give an incentive. And right now, countries around the world are dumping the dollar. They really are. Japan came out and said, hey, we've got to sell dollars to uphold our nation. And they just came out and said their economy is in worse condition than Greece. Can you imagine a country just straight up saying that? The United States, all of us in America, type 2 if you agree, we're used to getting lied to by our government. Straight up. But then you've got all these other countries like Japan going, hey, we're screwed. And be warned, we're screwed. And they're going to sell US dollars. China's out going, we're selling US dollars. We're selling your bonds, which are causing our interest rates to spike or stay elevated. Like, this is really things that you need to consider. Well, Iraq's sort of doing the opposite. Like, hey, we're buying a boatload of gold. And inside the government said, hey, our dinar is worth more. So we're changing the valuation. And yeah, I get it. The street, Wall Street, traders, whatever you see on computer screens aren't reflecting that. But the government's saying, no, this is what we value our currency at. So they already know it's worth more. The next thing will be a buyback. This is an amazing shot across the bow. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to run around with, sparklers, out of my armpits and my butt, run around, go, look, buy the dinar. That's not me. I want to teach people how to become wealthy. And one thing you got to learn to become wealthy is moderation. You don't go borrow against your house for dinar. I know people have done that. You don't spend your life savings on dinar. I know someone that did that. And then it's just sat stagnant. So what you do is you go crush it in all these other aspects, real estate, crypto, precious metals. And as you pull profits off and you go, hey, I want some dinar, I'm using my profits for that. The next thing will be a buyback. Will it happen tomorrow? No. No, it will not happen tomorrow. I can guarantee that. And if you want reality and you want to win, then hit the subscribe button. And I humbly ask you that, because what I want to do, and I'm sure you do too, and I think you'd agree, type 10 if you agree. If millions of us around the world thought logically and started to grind and become wealthy, we could take the world back from the dirt bags that are running it now. I don't like being lied to. I don't like being deceived. And yeah, there are times that your body, every cell in your body wants to believe the hopium that's being shoved out there. The dinar is going to revalue tomorrow. Gold's going to get, the president's just going to come out and say gold's worth $50,000 now. Or, it's like that crap don't happen. But you know what does happen? When you win these little battles, you're going to win greatly over time, because you win these little tiny battles. And after you know it, you've won the war. And that's what we need. Level-headed thinkers, not a bunch of people running around on hopium. I don't even want what they're smoking. I need some more water. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. I hope you have an awesome day. My courses, Memorial Day sale, lowest ever. Like, go check it out. And there's some really cool courses for like $19 that will, I'm not joking, send you on a whole different path. Here, I'll check this out. Let me throw out a little special suggestion. This suggestion. If you own dinar, but you do not own, let's say, cryptocurrency, can you just please type dinar? The reason why I say that, we did a course on the crypto. It's called the Crypto Prepper. I think it's $19 right now. It teaches you about true decentralization and how to purchase, how to run a node worldwide of something called Digibyte. It's not, I'm not joking, it will transform you. If you've never purchased crypto, I highly suggest you check out that course. You will be set on a path to where afterwards you're going to feel like a computer coder, and you're going to know more about currency and money and value and decentralization than you've ever thought before. So that link is down below, okay? I hope you got something out of this. Thank you to everyone that's been hitting the subscribe button. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.